Hello, my name is HQ of HQ Reacts. Welcome to my channel. Please do me a favor. Hit the like button, share the stream, and click the notification button for new content.
Hello. This is the information channel, and I am HQ. This is the information purposes today, right? Information purposes, where the title. The title is Gaza, and most people only think of the country in which they live. They never think of any of the conflicts or things that are happening across the world, right? So today we just highlighting Gaza and what is known as modern day Israel, which surrounds Gaza, right? And as you can see on the screen, that is a picture of Israel, modern day Israel, right? And the red parts you see are where most of the Palestinian people live, right? That's where most of the Palestinian people live, in the red parts. Most people live, right? That's 2025. Now, here's our second map. Okay, our second map is what Palestinian or Israel looked like before Israel occupied most of Gaza, or most of Israel. The green part was Palestinian land, the green. Then Jerusalem were pockets, these small pockets of people. That was in 1946. In 1947, it became partitioned. Okay, the earlier before any occupation, for anything else, before we know the current situation in Israel, the people who occupied this land, this Israeli land, current Israeli land, were called Palestinians. They had the bulk of the land, and they can trace their ancestry back to many groups who lived in the region for thousands of years, including Canaanites, Philistines, Hebrews, Arabs, and others, right? The term Palestine itself was used in antiquity by the Romans, okay, in 135 CE, I think, when they renamed it, the land, what is it called? Syrian Palestine, Palestina, or something to that effect. And later, during the Ottoman period, to describe the area between the Mediterranean Sea and the Jordan River, right? So this is how it looked before it is today. This was how it looked once they did the partition. Okay. Now, after World War I, Britain took control of Palestine under a League of Nations mandate. During this time, both Zionist Jewish migration, seeking a homeland. The Jews, modern day Israelites, the Jewish people, were seeking a homeland. So they came here. The modern day Israelites came here to this land. Okay. And the local, and the tensions grew between, I guess, the Jewish people and the Arab people, and both communities increased and both communities started to claim this unland. I guess this may be uncharted territory or unoccupied land, really, down here. So it was primarily up here where you had the concentration of people. This green is Palestinian people. This green was Palestinian people. And right here, and this was Jewish people, or Israelis as we know them today, right? That was in 1947. Okay, and they partitioned, British partitioned this land. And then I asked, okay, in short, Palestinians in Gaza, the Palestinians that are in Gaza right now, are descendants of these people who lived in Palestine for years, for centuries. But the reason Gaza is so densely Palestinian today is largely, Gaza is so concentrated today, is largely because of the 1948 war. Hundreds of thousands of refugees from surrounding towns and villages fled or were forced into Gaza, turning it into one of the most crowded areas in the world. Okay. Now, why was there a 1947 partition? Okay, that was one of the key turning points. This is 1947. This is this is Palestinian people. Was Palestinian, and this was Israeli people, or modern day or Jewish people. Okay. Then after between 1949 and 1967, this is what it looked like between 1949 and 19. So the Jewish people or Israeli people started to get all of that. They started to push back, and they conquered this. They conquered They conquered the Palestinian people out of the land. So they had taken over the land. You see the migration, right? This is in year 2000. Small pockets of Palestinians, small pockets, right here in 2000. Whereas in 1946, Palestinians owned they occupied all the land, damn near all the land. But by 2000, they only owned pockets of it. Okay. This is another map, right? So this is modern day Gaza. Now, where's the strip? Now they only occupy this small strip. You see the small strip here? Okay, I'm sorry. You see the small strip. Hold on. Let me update the picture. Sorry, guys. Okay. So this small strip right here, as we can see the small strip, that's all or the majority of where Palestinians live these days. Okay. This is where Palestinians live these days. That's it. The bulk of the people. So this is what they have now. This small strip, as you can see. Israel has captured almost all of the land except that small corner. See that small corner? Okay. The small corner of Israel. Let me give you the bigger picture. Let me take it back to the bigger picture. Okay. Hold on. Let me find it. Right here. Okay. So you see this yellow portion right by the water? This yellow portion, this orange portion. That's where they are now, in that small area. Right? Because of the fighting, because of the infighting, British controlled Palestinian under the British mandate. So both the Zionist Jews and the Arab Palestinians claimed that whole land. They claimed it. But as you can see, the Israeli people pushed back, occupied it, got it. So now we've had an escalation, and we've had the Gaza Strip be part of where most Palestinians are concentrated at, right? Now, of course, I am glossing over all of the conflicts and all of those things that they've had over the years. I'm just telling you the beginnings of Gaza, right? So since 1947, Jewish immigration to Palestine. See, they keep saying Jewish immigration to Palestine because Palestinians occupied the most land. The Palestinians feel as though that was their land. They occupied it. They occupied it first. So ownership is the bulk of everything. But unfortunately, Palestinian people couldn't hold on to the land. They lost it through conflicts. They lost it through war. They lost it through war of the Israeli people. Israeli people say they own land, but as you can see, the occupation was mostly Palestinian until the Israelis or the Jewish Zionists, I'm assuming, the Jewish people pushed them out and put them on that little strip of Gaza. Okay? On that little strip of Gaza. So after 1947, the Jewish people were seeking a homeland. The bulk of them were seeking a homeland. So the United Nations helped to partition. The partition offered a legal and internationally recognized plan to create a separate state for the Jewish and the Arabs, aiming to reduce the conflict. But the conflict has never ended. Okay? At the beginning, the Jews only owned Israeli Netanyahu. Those people only owned 6 to 8% of the land. Yet their occupation of the land was growing. Population of the people were growing. And the Arabs, who were the Palestinians, feared permanent displacement and loss of majority of control. And that's what happened. The partition in 1947 was seen as a way to balance competing national claims that they both owned the land. See, that's the beginning. The beginning was that Palestinians and the Jewish people said, no, this is our land. Even if you can look at the land, let me take you back to the picture. Even if you can look at the land I showed you. Let me see if I still have the picture. Let me see. No. If I can show you the picture, even if I show you the picture that was the initial picture, right, of the land. This was the initial picture. If you can see, the land was occupied by Palestinians. The Palestinians owned the bulk of that land. The Jewish or the current day Israelites only owned 6 to 8% of that land. This was the Jewish up here in this white little pockets. So the land was occupied mostly by Palestinians. Okay. But there was already a war that was happening in 1947, a full-scale civilian war between the Jews and the Arabs. Okay. The UN hoped that a clear, internationally sanctioned division could prevent further violence, but it didn't. In practice, it failed, leading directly to the 1948 war. And the British could not contain the war. They could no longer manage the conflict. Jewish, and the Arabs had irreconcilable national aspirations. Demographic pressures were intensifying, and the world sought a legal framework to create peace. So from then on, they have been having conflict. Israel has been pushing the Palestinian people. They have been conquering more and more land. They have been pushing the Palestinian people out more and more and more and more to the point where there is no other place that is occupied except that small portion of the Gaza Strip. That small portion that we know of where Palestinians live right now. Okay? And that's what we see today. That's what we know of as the Gaza Strip. The Gaza Strip is occupied by Palestinians. Okay? This small strip. A daily happening. We're not saying the whole of Gaza is like this. We're not saying that. Okay? We're not saying that. But we are saying that most of the land has been conquered by Israelis. Sooner or later, it's going to be occupied, and the Palestinians are not going to have a homeland, really, not really, because they're going to push them out. Here's the last map that I can show you. This map right here, all of those red zones are where Israelis have infiltrated that Gaza Strip. And there's only small portions and small pockets. Refugee camps are in there. Okay, evacuation zones are the red, the white are irregular. It's a war zone. I just showed you the pictures of Palestine. Okay, we just showed you the pictures of it. So when people, and then in that preoccupation, right, of Gaza, in that preoccupation, Israel controls over 50% of Gaza, over 50% of that little strip of land, primarily through military buffer zones and security corridors, right? Such as the Marag corridors. Okay, I think there was some kind of conflict or something that was happening that wouldn't allow somebody to get there with some food or some drink or something. I can't remember. Okay, but approximately 70% of Gaza has been designated as a no-go zone or evacuation areas, displacing over 4,200,000 Palestinians, restricting their movement to confined and shrinking zones. Their occupation is limited to here. Current evacuation zone. This whole area, Israel has gotten this whole area evacuation zone. Evacuate. This Gaza is where they can move, but there's still refugee camps. You see these gray areas, refugee camps. They don't have electricity. As of July 2025, only 12% of Gaza remains outside of Israeli control or military presence, leaving the residents there in isolated areas with limited access to water, food, X, Y, and Z. Okay. There are some Palestinians in the West Bank. The West Bank is, at the top of right here is this white portion. There are some pockets in which you have some Palestinians. Okay. And there's a neutral zone, and then there's a Palestinian zone, right? So in January 2025, Israel launched a large-scale military operation called Iron Wall in the northern West Bank, resulting in the displacement of over 40,000 Palestinians and establishment of full military control over key areas like Jenin and New Shamus, Tokarm refugee camps. So as of today, Gaza is starving. So here's the thing. This is the current demographic. Let's see the current demographics. What's going on? The current demographics. What's happening to the people today? Gaza is the home of about 2 million people in the area of about 140 square miles. It's the home of 2 million people in the area of 140 square miles. It is the most densely populated place on Earth. Many of those residents are descendants of that 1948 Palestinian refugee camp who fled and were exiled from their homes. There was a war inside of Israel in 1948, and all of those Palestinians ran to the Gaza coast, ran to the Gaza Strip. And they were expelled from their homes, so they ran to that corner of Israel. Of course, people fucking and eating, that's all they got time to do is fucking eat. It ain't like they can work damn near. They don't have electricity every day of the week. Every hour of every hour, they don't have electricity. Okay. Heavy conflict, airstrikes, ground operation cause destruction and civilian casualties all the time. Each of these wars 2008, 12, 14, 21, thousands and thousands of people displaced, tens of thousands within Gaza, right? Destroying homes, schools, hospitals, infrastructure, you name it. And since 2007, Hamas took control of Gaza. Israel and Egypt imposed a blockade after they did that because Hamas is considered a terrorist organization, right? And since they consider Hamas a terrorist organization, they apparently it's okay for them to starve the actual people that are there. What is Hamas? So Hamas is a Palestinian political and militant group that was founded in 1987 during the first Intifada, which was an uprising against Israeli control of Palestinian territories. Hamas has both a political wing and a military wing, and it operates primarily in the Gaza Strip, of course. Hamas participates in Palestinian politics and won a majority of Palestinian legislature elections in 2006. It effectively acts as the governing authority. So, they carry out, it's a certain wing, an armed wing, armed wing of that Hamas. They carry out attacks against Israel, including rocket attacks and other operations, right? These actions that Hamas have taken have led many countries, including the U.S., Britain, Israeli, to classify Hamas as a terrorist organization. Okay. So the impact on Gaza, of course, with Hamas's governance and ongoing conflict with them, with Israel, have contributed to economic hardship and blockades that they've gotten in the country. They haven't gotten as much help as they needed to. And seeing as how Israel don't have any desire to help those people. They want to starve those people out. Get y'all's ass up off that land because this is our land. It has always been the way that Israel, the way. Even though you all saw the map, you saw the green map in which Palestinians occupied most of the land. Basically, as far as I can see, the Palestinians lost every war damn near that they had with the Jewish and Israeli people. And the Israeli people won the land over, won it, till they took it down to a small strip, which is the Gaza Strip, and pockets of places in the West Bank. Okay. At least that's my understanding of it. I could be wrong. I mean, of course, I can be wrong. Of course. Okay. I could be wrong. So, what do these people need to do now? Gaza's economic hardship is largely dependent on humanitarian aid and smuggling tunnels because legal employment and trade are restricted. Over 60% of the population live below the poverty line. 60% of the population live below the poverty line, and malnutrition and disease are widespread. Now, here's the thing. Most people don't know. This is all controlled by Israel. Okay? This is mostly controlled by Israel, all of it. Okay? Very few Gaza residents have anywhere to go due to border restrictions. As you can see, you're looking at the occupied territory. You're looking at the Gaza Strip. That's an evacuation area. Those areas are evacuated because they tell people, get out of those areas because we're going to bomb those areas, right? That's the evacuation. And in the middle and in the other end of it, they have refugee camps. So refugee camps mean people are starving, dying, disease. All of that stuff is rampant in that country. But the people don't want to leave because they consider that their land. They are a conquered people. But they don't want to leave their land. But their quality of life is for shit. And they'd rather live in shitty circumstances than leave their land. That's what I'm assuming. I'm assuming that. Okay. I'm assuming that, of course. Yeah, get a life, year. I'm just reading the facts that I heard. I have no opinion about it whatsoever. Okay. So no, this is not a I'm just reporting on shit that I read on the internet. I don't have any feeling about it whatsoever. Yer is the one that tripping. I'm reporting on the channel. You don't he can't, whoever, they can't dispute the maps. What am I showing you? What am I showing you? What is this? Urban areas are the yellow areas. Refugee camps are the gray areas. And the green is border crossings. They got 1, 2, apparently they only have 3. Who knows? Okay. Of course they want their land back. They want their land back, but unfortunately they were a conquered people. The Jewish people came over. I'm not talking about Israel. I'm talking about Gaza. I'm not talking about Israel. I'm talking about the Gaza Strip and the people there. So I'm just showing you pictures. This is the water. This is how far these people are from the water. Okay. I'm not calling Israel nothing. I'm not saying anything. I'm just reporting what I saw. That's it. This is just a picture of the strip of people, the strip of land. That much destruction. So that is what it is. Okay. It is what it is. I'm just showing you the what it looks like before 1947, right? This is what it looked like before 1947. 1947, they did a partition. They said, "Hey, both you Israelis and you Palestinians own. We're gonna cut the land in half. Palestinians gonna have a half. Israelis are gonna have a half." As you can see, most of the land was occupied by Palestinians in the green. Then, once they did the partition, the United Nations said, "Hey, Palestinians, you own the green part. Israelis, you own the white part." Then, between 1949 and 1967, between 1949 and 1967, Israelis started to occupy. The Israeli people started to occupy more and more land. They grew more and more, and so they took over more of the land, as you can see in 1949, 1967. And this is the year 2000 right here. 2000, Palestinians is the green Palestinian. This is right now, this is how it looks. Smaller and smaller portion of green up here now. But most of the Palestinian people, whereas it used to be all green for the Palestinian people, now it's just this small portion that's Palestinian people. So the Israel was the white, and Israel conquered the Palestinian people down to this small strip. So that is where people say the Gaza Strip. That's where the people live now, in the Gaza Strip. This is today. Okay, here's today's map. You guys see today's map? Let me see. Give me today's map. I didn't realize I had a today's map. Okay, here it is today. Right here, this was green, the Palestinian land. Now this is what it looks like today. Okay. This is what it looks like today. So in this small strip, this is the Gaza Strip. So that was that's the informational. Okay. I'm not I don't have an opinion one way or the other. I'm just showing you the map. Okay? I'm just showing you the map. What the map looks like today. What it looked like a long time ago. Okay? So when people bring up the conversation, when the conversation comes up, right? The conversation comes up and people say, uh what happened? Why do we have X, Y, and Z? Why is this? Because this is how it looks today. And you saw the green is how it looks before this happened. And people like to stay away from the whole conversation. I'm not having a conversation about it. I'm just telling you what the maps looked like then. So when people say the Gaza Strip, you have an idea of what that means. When people say Gaza Strip, this is what that means. Okay, the Palestinian people have been pushed onto that strip of land. Okay, you can't whitewash any of those things. It is what it is. Okay, so it was just a matter of updating people on when people talk about Gaza Strip, this is the Gaza Strip. That's it. Okay, and this is how it became the Gaza Strip. This is how the Palestinian people came to be on that particular land strip. Okay. I'm saying a conquered people. I mean, there could be any number of things. I know that whole history is wild. You know, the whole history is wild. Okay, so it's not that many people there as of now. Yes. So when Israel said, wait a minute, I forgot to say, what was that? What happened? What happened in October? What was it? October 6. What happened October 6th? That's right. What happened October 6th? Egypt and Syria launched a surprise coordinated attack against Israel. The attack happened across two fronts. Egypt attacked across the Suez Canal in the south. Egypt attacked Israel from the south, and Syria attacked them from the north. The timing was strategic. It was Yom Kippur, the holiest day in the Jewish calendar, when many of the Israeli people were observing the holiday, so defenses were less alert. Also, the attack coincided with Ramadan for Muslims. This war had major impacts, right? It broke the sense that Israel was invincible. It created new dynamics of military, political, and diplomatic engagement, including pressure from superpowers like us, and later peace negotiations that they were supposed to have. For Egypt, especially, it was seen as psychological victory. Crossing the Suez and breaching the Bar-Lev line was a strong symbolic and strategic gain for them. On that date, there wasn't a major single military event like it in 1973, but there were incidents reflecting ongoing tensions. So I'm assuming that this was I'm assuming that this was something that was blamed on the Palestinian people. I don't know why would they why do they blame this single attack on the Palestinians? Why do they blame the Palestinian for this? Okay. Why do they blame them? The blame was placed on the Palestinians, okay, depends on who you ask and the political lens in which you're looking, right? October 6th war wasn't actually started by the Palestinians. It was led by Egypt and Syria. Palestinians were obviously involved in that, but it wasn't their war. Still, Palestinians are part of the broader Israeli conflict. So some people lump them into the responsible pile, even though they're not. Okay. The ongoing Gaza crisis, many of the Israeli people and its allies blame Palestinians, especially Hamas, for launching those rockets and carrying out all of those attacks and rejecting peace deals. Israelis say Gaza people are rejecting the peace deals. The argument is that if Hamas stopped the violence and accepted Israel's existence, Gaza wouldn't be under blockade and wars wouldn't keep happening. See, the Palestinian people who live on the strip say they are the true owners of the land. So they don't want to do no peace deal. They don't want to have any peace. But the thing is, Israel keeps pushing them further and further and further out until they will be in the sea. So there's a blockade on food and water and everything else that goes into the Gaza Strip, which means the people may be starving, hungry, thirsty. The water is people can't drink the water. People are starving. Okay. If you Google pictures closely, you will see that you will get the answer that you need. Okay. I'm just reporting the news. I don't know one way or the other. I know there's pictures out there. They don't like these pictures being out there. They don't like the fact that they don't look as good as they're supposed to look. See, most people frame it in the because the ongoing fight, the Hamas is attacking them. You will often see in the news them saying Hamas is attacking us Jewish people. We got to protect the Jewish people. As you can see, the Jewish people are more than capable of taking care of themselves. The Jewish people have taken over most of the land. So you gotta definitely read more on it. I'm just showing you the picture. I'm just showing you all of those things. There's nothing we can do except protest and say, hey, you need to make sure those people are fed. But see, it's called war. Okay, it's called war. That's the way I look at it. It's called war. As you can see in the green. Let me take it back. We take it back. That green map is the best map that they got. The green map is the best map, right? Okay, here it is. This is the best map that I've ever seen of it. Okay, this is what it looked like. This is what it looked like before, when the Palestinian people owned most of the land. Israel came in, and the Jewish people came in, and they conquered most of the land. They started it got separated in 1947 by UN. The UN separated, said, hey, y'all can have half, y'all can have half. But the Gaza people the Palestinian people would never accept it. Right? So the Palestinian people will never accept it. So they're going to go out in annihilation under the Israeli. The Israelis are going to snuff them out. This is the land that Trump was saying, hey, let's make it a parking lot. Let's snuff them all out and get rid of them all, and then we ain't got to deal with all that. This is why Netanyahu is under UN for being a war criminal. Right. That's why Netanyahu, the leader of Israel, is now considered a war criminal because they're starving and those people on that Gaza Strip are dying. So that's a humanitarian thing. And most people don't really know that, but this is what happened. When people say, okay, the Palestinian people are attacking the Jewish people or whatnot, can you see these people in this small strip attacking this big country? These people they barely can do whatever. They've done their attacking. Don't get me wrong, they've done it. But whatever they're doing is unsustainable. And they said we would rather die than let you all have our land, have the last of our land. This is what the Palestinian people say, I'm sure. They'd rather die than have the rest of their land. I'm assuming that's what they say, because they could have stopped a long time ago, but they didn't. So it is what it is, right? It's a one country that conquered the other, and the conquered country doesn't want to accept that they've been conquered. That's all. Yeah. So the UN has, you go look it up. Under the UN, Netanyahu is considered a war criminal because these people on this little bank are starving and dying. Okay. So it is what it is. But you know what? You're right. You guys are right. You guys are right. They love to cancel you about some things. They love to cancel you about some things. So I'm going to end this whole thing. I mean, end this Gaza thing here. But I'm just, anybody that goes back and looks at it can see, look at these green and white. This is what it used to be. This is what that ending picture is, what it is now compared to what, they did to the Palestinian people. So hey, Israel may have been a victim at one point, but they're not a victim today. Not today. You can't say they're a victim today. Okay. So I'll be back at 8:00. We're going to do some Kevin Samuels. We're going to have some fun. We're going to have some laughs. Let's get off this serious subject. I just wanted to do the Gaza thing today, and then we will see what we got going on tonight. And at 8:00, please come back. Please sub, please like, and please share. This is just a quick recap. Everybody, this is in the middle of people's day. Come back when it gets dark so we can have some fun. I will talk to you all later. Later.